got 5 super simple and easy pumpkin spice recipes for you to try. From like a 0 on the super simple scale to maybe like a 2 at the most. Honestly, they are so easy to do that you will be adding these to your rotation for every single year. First up, we're starting off with the base to literally every single recipe that we're going to be doing, which is actual pumpkin spice. So we're going to start off with 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. I mean, measure with your heart, that's what I do. It's going absolutely everywhere, but it's fine. Got it at the back of my throat a little bit. Then I'm just going to add in 2 teaspoons of ginger. And then we're going to add in equal amounts of nutmeg, mixed spice and ground cloves. I'm literally just going to give that a big mix up just to incorporate all of those spices together. And that is literally your first recipe. And to be honest, I actually use this in my Christmas baking too because it's essentially all of the same kind of flavours. I know that ginger's kind of more pushed at Christmas, but it's essentially the same kind of ingredients that you use in all your Christmas baking as well. So make this now and use it from now until December. Okay, so recipe 2. If you have watched my other video of the coffee creamer recipes, you will have already seen this one. If you haven't, I will link it at the end so you can go and have a look because it is so simple and delicious. I think that's going to be my new slogan, is simple and delicious, but then that also makes me sound like I'm simple. I'll probably very easily be misconstrued, so maybe not. This may be like a difficulty rating of like a half because you've got to open a couple of cans and dump it all in there, but that is literally about it. So starting off with 1 whole can of condensed milk. Make sure to get every last bit out of there because you want all of that thick, creamy condensed milk goodness. Because as a child, I absolutely hated condensed milk and it was something that my nana would always have, but now I absolutely love it. To this base, I'm just going to add 1 cup of cream. And then we're also going to add 1 cup of milk. And then just give that a little mix all together. And you could actually just leave that as it is. You can basically mix anything into it. So that is just like a really super simple, easy like creamer base. So to turn this into pumpkin spice, we're going to add a couple of teaspoons of pumpkin spice. And then I'm also going to add in some pumpkin. If I can open it, right, I'm not being funny, but Amazon, what's happened here? Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to open that. Good. It's literally just gone all over me. So I'm just going to add in about a tablespoon of pumpkin puree. We might add a little bit more in. We're just going to kind of taste it and see and go from there. So you just want to give that a mix up. You might actually be better using a whisk at this point. Just give it a good mix together to incorporate all of that pumpkin spice. It smells so good. It definitely doesn't need any more spices, but I am just going to add a little bit more actual pumpkin to it. And then just give it another quick taste. Oh my goodness. Wow. And that is literally it. So if you wanted to, you could add in a couple of more components. You could add in some vanilla, maybe some maple syrup just to sweeten it a little bit more if you wanted to. But I'm going to leave it like that because to me, honestly, that's perfect. So I got these bottles from Amazon. So they're just some little clip lid bottles. And I'm going to bottle half of this up. And then we're going to use the other half for our next recipe. Of course, before we move on, I'm going to have to try it because it tastes absolutely delicious. So I'm just going to make a really quick cup of coffee in my absolutely adorable ghosty mug. And then we're just going to add in some of that pumpkin spice creamer. Give it a little stir and then let's give it a taste test. Tell me why that tastes like an actual pumpkin pie. So for the next one, we're going to take that other half of the base and we're literally just going to add in 1 egg. This time we're also going to add in some vanilla as well. Then we're just going to mix that all together and that is going to give us a beautiful pumpkin spice custardy base ready for our next one. And we just need to take this and head on over to the cooker. I realise I haven't actually told you what we're making in this one. If you haven't guessed already, we're making a pumpkin spice French toast. Now it's up to you if you want to just use like regular brioche bread for French toast. I've got this cinnamon and raisin toasty loaf, so I'm just going to use that. As soon as that's ready, I'm just going to dip my bread in that mixture and then we're going to transfer it straight over into that pan and we're just going to let it cook up until it's nice and golden on both sides, literally just a couple of minutes on each side. Honestly, French toast is like one of my favourite things ever, so pumpkin spice French toast mashed together just sounds like absolute heaven. And I'm literally just going to serve it up with a classic maple syrup and powdered sugar. Pumpkin spice coffee, and I've got my pumpkin spice French toast, and honestly I'm just in absolute heaven. It looks incredible, but the actual real test is, does it actually taste good? Now, I'm not just saying it because it is a little bit sweet. I think because that bread already has quite a bit of sweetness to it, that honestly is one of the best things that I have ever had. So now for the next one, we are going to be making some brown sugar pumpkin Pop-Tarts. So I've just preheated the oven, and I'm going to start off with a couple of tablespoons of butter. Then I'm going to add about an equal amount of brown sugar. I'm going to add in some pumpkin spice seasoning, also some more of that pumpkin puree, and then we're just going to mix it all in. Butter and pumpkin are not going to mix very well together, but honestly just trust the process because it will taste absolutely delicious. Stupidly enough, I thought I had some baking paper because I'm always baking, so I've always got baking paper, but it looks like I must have run out, so we're gonna have to use some tin foil and honestly just hope for the best. I'm going to take some store-bought short crust pastry, separate into two halves and roll it out. I'm just going to roughly cut the shape that I want, so I'm just going to do some like typical Pop-Tart squares. Not squares, they're rectangles. I was going to go for like a Pop-Tart rectangle, but for some reason I just had square in my head, and basically I've just made Pop-Tart squares. It'll be fine, we'll just stretch them out a bit and they'll look like a normal Pop-Tart. We're going to take that really weird looking pumpkin mixture and we're just going to spoon it into the middle. Just make sure that you leave an edge around so that you can put the top on and you can crimp it all together. I'm just going to neaten that up a little bit. So then I'm also just going to poke a couple of holes in it just so that the air can escape, so it's not just going to puff up and completely explode. I'm going to transfer them over to my baking sheet. I'm going to top these with a little bit of milk. Not that it makes a massive difference because once we put the glaze on top, you're not really going to see it. And then just top it with a little bit more brown sugar. I'm going to transfer these over to the oven. I'm going to bake them until golden brown. Just while waiting for the Pop-Tarts to bake, we're going to make an icing to go on top. We're just going to start off with some powdered sugar. Just going to add in a little bit of vanilla, some brown sugar, and also just a little bit of pumpkin spice. I'm going to add some milk and mix it all together. The Pop-Tarts are out of the oven and they smell so incredible. Let them cool down for a couple of minutes, and now we're just going to top them with that pumpkin spice icing. It's time to try them and see how good they are. It definitely needs to be a bit thinner next time, but taste wise, oh my god. So for our fifth and final recipe, we are going to be making a 1 bowl banana bread. Since it's a pumpkin spice special, we are going to be making a pumpkin spice banana bread. And since I've been an absolute idiot and forgot to get any baking paper, we're actually going to be making some pumpkin spice banana bread muffins. You can do this in a loaf pan. The only difference you're going to do is you're going to bake it for about 45 to 60 minutes. So we're going to start off with bananas. I've only got small bananas, so I'm going to put in 4 small ones. And because these ones are like perfectly just overripe, I'm going to put in a little bit less sugar just because it is already going to be very, very sweet. Just going to mash those all together, and then I'm going to add in 2 eggs. Also going to add in 113 grams of butter. It does work better if you melt the butter first, but honestly I'm just being a little bit lazy and I'm doing the all-in-one method. The original recipe calls for 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, but we're going to mix it up and we're going to do brown sugar. And I'm just going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of pumpkin spice. Honestly, measure with your heart. And then we've just got 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And finally 2 cups of plain flour. Then we're just going to give everything a really good mix together. Can't believe that I almost forgot the star of the show, which is that pumpkin puree. So we're going to add in about 1 cup of pumpkin. I'm just going to add a little bit more pumpkin spice. So I'm just going to line a baking tray, and then we're going to add all of that mix into the muffins equally, and we're going to bake them for about 12 to 15 minutes. House smells absolutely incredible. Now they are still red hot and they're fresh out the oven, but I just wanted to show you because look at that, it smells so good. Even though I do like it as the muffin, I think if you did that as the loaf with a little bit of butter on and a cup of coffee on a morning,
I don't think there's any beating it.
Oh my goodness, was that incredible? And I feel like I may be a little bit pumpkin spiced out now for the rest of today at least anyway. Comment down below and let me know which ones you've tried. Also comment down below and let me know if there's any pumpkin spice recipes that you love and you do every single year. And I will see you in the next one.